All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to proceed with the program. I am extremely excited to introduce our next special guest who is in the house. Keisha Knight Pulliam is a familiar and nostalgic face in homes all around the world. Since the age of 5, Keisha was cast as the iconic Rudy Huxtable on the groundbreaking Emmy and Golden Globes award-winning television show, The Cosby Show. She became the overnight poster child of the family, and not much has changed today. Her acting resume has continued to flourish over several decades. Keisha returned to the big screen in Beauty Shop alongside Queen Latifah and for her role in Tyler Perry's House of Pain as Miranda. She even made her directorial debut in 2021. She is a prominent HBCU graduate of the illustrious Spelman College and a proud mom to Ella Grace, and wife now to Brad James, who's also here. She is affectionately referred to as a new age mompreneur who relentlessly pursues all of her goals and dreams. Her brand is an intersection of beauty, home, entertainment, giving back, and chasing and making an impact in the community. Keisha's resume continues to evolve, from working in the entertainment business to becoming one of the founding partners of the Fearless Fund, co-founder of Peaches and Lola Children's Clothing Line, and the curator of her own spice line, Keisha's Kitchen. Her most proud work is with her nonprofit, Camp Kizzy, dedicated to inspiring girls worldwide to dream big, think big, and accomplish big. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Keisha Knight Pulliam to the stage. Hi, Keisha.
How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
It feels like I already know you. It probably feels that way for a lot of you in the audience, right? So, Keisha, you are a mom,
Yes.
an entrepreneur, an actress, a director, a producer. I mean, you do it all. I just wonder, how do you keep it all together? I know meditation is a big thing for you, right?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we're in this phase of everyone wants to be booked and busy. Everyone wants to hustle. Everyone wants to do, seem like 24 hours a day they are working hard. And I feel like a lot of times we don't give enough just focus and energy and credit, therefore, to just rest. We have to rejuvenate, we have to refresh. And, people say balance, but, if you're a mom, there's no such thing as balance. You just you do what you have to do when you have to do it. But what I do know is, despite all of my businesses, despite acting and all of these things, my priority is and always will be my family.
Love that.
Because at the end of the day, that's why I do it.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being a new wife.
Yes,
Let's
thank
give it up for
you.
Keisha.
Thank you.
Okay, so you got to tell us, how's the new married life treating you?
I love it. When you find the person that you were supposed to be with, your person, it's amazing. Yes, marriage, anything worth having is work, but not work from the standpoint of like toiling, but it's more work from the standpoint of both equally waking up every day and choosing each other and making sure that you're doing the things that are going to support, that are going to empower and just grow love within your relationship. And it looks very different. No two are the same, but it's, understanding you and your person. So I love it. I'm grateful.
I've heard you say you're much more of a intimate wedding kind of person versus having a big wedding. What was it like to plan a wedding in a pandemic?
Well, let me tell you. Not only did we plan a wedding in a pandemic, we moved while both working. Brad was between New York, LA, and Canada. Part of the time as we were preparing for our move was in the bubble filming for Tyler Perry's House of Pain.
Right.
And then, so we were all over with children, with work, and planning a wedding. But what I can say is I definitely made sure to be present in the moment and enjoy the process, because each phase of it, yes, it can be stressful, but you only get that time once. So being present where you are, really soaking that time in and appreciating it and having gratitude and getting excited. So I'm grateful that I did that piece, and it turned out it was my dream. It was absolutely perfect. It was beautiful. It was, just magical. And I'm grateful that, we decided to do it. And the funny thing is you have to roll with the punches. It's like life. So often we have this plan and we're like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. It's going to go bop, 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 bop. But I always say, our plan B has always been God's plan A. Always.
Yes.
And, we at first were planning this big wedding in Jamaica and the whole thing. God was like, yeah, not so much. So, and that's okay. It worked out perfectly. We ended up having it at our home. So instead of spending the money on that big wedding in Jamaica, it was invested in our home. So I'm grateful for that.
That is beautiful. And thank you for sharing those beautiful wedding pictures on Instagram. There was a moment where Brad and Ella took a picture together. They were forehead to forehead. Such a touching moment. What did that moment mean to you and just the relationship that it appears Brad and Ella have built together?
Listen, don't mess with Ella's dad. This right here, no matter what, they love and adore each other. And that was one of my prayers. Once you have a child, specifically a daughter, it's very different. So I prayed for a man that was going to love her as his own, and that they were going to love each other in that way. And I got more than I could have dreamt of. We have a blended family. Brad has children as well. I love and adore his children. It's really funny because the other day we were having a conversation, and I get that we've had to go through all of these experiences to be at this moment, to be ready for each other. However, I was sitting there, and I think we were just driving, and I was like, man, I wish that we could have found each other sooner so that we could have had more time, like with his kids and with, actually he's been in Ella's life pretty much all of her life. But we started dating when she was a year. And yeah, I wish we could have found each other sooner so I could have had more time with his kids.
That is so beautiful. I was going to ask you, people ask the singer Ciara all the time what her prayer was for Russell, and I was going to ask what your prayer was for Brad. And it's just so beautiful to see it all come together for you.
And the prayer isn't about external view, though. That's the piece that I think a lot of people miss, is that when they're looking for that other partner, they're looking for someone to complete them. And it's not about anyone completing you. You have to be whole in order to attract another whole individual.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Speaking of Ella, who is a whole mood.
Man, y'all have
so
y'all
much
see glimpses.
Personality. Is she here today?
No, Ella Grace is not.
Okay.
And
Ella's not
please
here.
don't tell her I am, because you left without Ella Boo?
Aww.
That's what I would get. So we were FaceTiming her actually, because she's with my mom, who is like God sent. Like, I love her and adore her. We're best friends, but she's also the executive director of my nonprofit, the Camp Kizzy Foundation. But in addition to that, she travels with us, like when we're on the road and everything, and she's Ella's nanny, because there's no one else that I would trust with her other than my mother.
Right.
But yes, let me tell you, Ella Grace, she's so awesome. She's a joy.
She seems so lovable. So much personality.
Yes, she has personality for days. And it's crazy because my parents look at her and they're like, I do not know how you gave birth to yourself. But you did, from facial expressions to even how she looks, to her things she says. And I'm in awe every day. And I love it.
That's awesome. Well, tell little Ella I said hello.
I will.
Ella Richmond says hey.
I will.
Any plans to give Ella some siblings, maybe?
You're all in my uterus. No, ma'am. No, of course. I love children, and it will happen how it's supposed to. So
absolutely, God's plan, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So let's talk about, obviously many people recognize you as Little Rudy, Rudy Huxtable, Miranda Payne. You've done so much, but your rise to stardom started when you were just 9 months old?
Yeah.
Way before we knew you as Rudy.
It did. My first job was at 9 months old, and I was one of the first, actually. I think there was one before me, but it was a Johnson & Johnson print ad, and it was the mother, the father, and like the little naked baby. First and only nude scene. That's me. So it started with print work at 9 months old, and it really started as a hobby. I'm from New Jersey originally, and someone from Jersey's here. Okay. I'm originally from Jersey, and it really started out as a hobby. Like everyone would say what a friendly baby I was, how, I would go to whomever, I was just bubbly and smiley. So my mom, my parents sent my picture into an agency. Mm-hmm. And so my first job I booked at 9 months. I did everything before the Cosby Show, from national commercials with Del Monte Corn to Sesame Street, to the movie The Last Dragon. So I was, working pretty steadily up until the Cosby Show.
And also the youngest actress ever to be nominated for an Emmy for your work on the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
So I know to many, everyone sees you as a celebrity, but growing up at home, you were Keisha.
Oh, yeah.
To mom and dad. I mean, you had to wash dishes just like the rest of us, right?
Absolutely.
What was it like to grow up under the spotlight? You were so young.
I don't have another point of reference. So for me, it's my life, Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed my life. I've had a great family. I have 3 younger brothers. We're all super tight, super close. My family is a close-knit family. We are my parents were very, very adamant about ensuring, to the best of their ability, that I would be raised in a way that had humility and authenticity and just the real things that life is about. Mm-hmm. It was never about like what job I'm booking next, or when we came into the house, none of that was a factor. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate them for that. I mean, granted, but everyone has their own individual and unique experiences. So no two people's life is exactly the same, but all of those experiences are what help create who we are today in this moment. So I live with absolutely no regrets. I'm really grateful for everything that I've been able to experience, that I've been able to accomplish, that I've been able to witness. Mm-hmm. I've had a really amazing life, and I just continue to enjoy the journey.
So blessed. And speaking of the entertainment business, mm-hmm. at one point you had a workshop for parents who thought about getting their kids into entertainment. What's the best piece of advice you could give anyone who is thinking about that for their child?
Let it be something that's fun. I feel like a lot of parents put a little too much pressure on their children, mm-hmm. and they make it about booking the jobs or about earning or about this. Allow it to be a hobby, and, understand that, it's not cut out for every kid. Your job as a parent is to help your children be the best versions of themselves, mm-hmm. and pursue what they're destined to do in this lifetime. And everyone's child isn't destined to be an actor. It's just the truth of the matter. But be a parent first. A lot of people get lost in the whole momager, pushing. Yes, you need to advocate for your child. Yes, you were there to protect them. But first, it's about being a parent. Mm-hmm. And I would say that if ever there is a fork in the road where it's about the career or it's about loving your child as a parent, always take the fork of just loving your child as a parent. Absolutely. If it's for them, it will be for them, and it will happen. They have their whole lifetime, so it doesn't have to happen in this finite period of their life. This is such an imperative time where they are learning the skills necessary to be a whole human being and to be a successful human being. And success doesn't equate to money. Mm-hmm. It's the values that you instill in your child, the integrity, it's the honesty, it's the authenticity, it's the love, it's the, just determination and all those different things. So if this is a vehicle to help instill those things in your child, amazing. But if it's not for you.
All right, excellent advice. Well, we know that, yes, give it up. So Keisha, you have a nonprofit, Camp Kizzy, where you are doing incredible things when it comes to the empowerment of teens and tweens around the world, which I think the timing couldn't be more perfect for that, with the social media influence and just with everything going on. So talk a little bit about that and just what makes you so passionate to do that.
I adore my Camp Kizzy girls. I started Camp Kizzy over 10 years ago. This is 11 or 12 years at this point. And it really just came, like anything that I do, out of a passion and seeing a need and wanting to be a part of the solution versus a part of the problem. Because a lot of us don't understand that when you do nothing, you are a part of the problem. And some people are afraid if they don't have everything in place or if they don't feel like it's this grand vision, a lot of people are paralyzed with just starting. And they don't understand that every little piece of help that you give someone else, whether it's a smile when you pass somebody and they're looking, sometimes you'll see those people, oh, they had a rough day. But instead of that, give them that smile. You never know how that can affect that person's life and create a ripple effect. So with Camp Kizzy, I've always done community service. A part of Give Back Philanthropy has been in our family. Like, as mostly people of color in this room, and people in general, we come from the knowledge of this is a village. And our village is our extended family. It's the people in our community. And a lot of it we don't recognize as philanthropy because it's what we do. And that is where philanthropy starts. Because, my family isn't from wealth. We're first generation doing this. So we have had a lot of cousins and uncles and other people who weren't as fortunate. So, that give back starts within the family. And then when I got to Spelman, I was a Bonner Scholar, which is a community service-based scholarship. And I did after-school arts programs with the kids in the surrounding communities. If you're not familiar with where the AUC is, Spelman, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, regentrification has changed the dynamics a little bit. But when I was there, it was the hood, period, point blank. And so I did a lot of work with the kids in that surrounding community, because it's crazy when you're behind the gates of Spelman or Morehouse or Clark or any of the schools, and you realize that these children who are footsteps outside have never been inside these gates, nor do they recognize the fact that it is attainable for them. So part of even planting the seeds is letting them through the gates. And that's a lot of what I enjoy doing, and that planted the seeds for the Camp Kizzy Foundation. I was a sociology major with a concentration in film, and it was at that point that I recognized, the importance of just merging that together, and the importance of you don't know to dream it if you don't know it exists. And I also recognize that 11 to 6, it's actually gone down a little lower. We may have to revisit our age range because of social media. These kids are growing up even faster.
Yeah.
But I recognize that is that pivotal point where they're more interested in being alike than being their individual perfect self. I tell my girls all the time, why are you running around trying to be a worthless copy when you were born a priceless original? So instead of having to deprogram them, I said, you know what, let's start here so we can build the fundamentals, build into them that empowerment, that self-esteem and understanding their power. Because what a lot of us don't realize is we're born with the power, and we're the only ones who can give it away. So that's where Camp Kizzy was birthed, and I love it. I do the curriculum, the programming, and that's funny. They're like, Miss Keisha, we didn't think you were gonna be here all the time. Yes. Miss Keisha don't play, you're right. Try me if you want to. But that also comes with an immense amount of love. It's not from a place of, it all comes, let me speak in the affirmative. Even in those moments, it's coming from a place of love and coming from a place of wanting the best for them and knowing that they have more to give and not accepting mediocrity. I push you because I love you.
Yes, yes. What a beautiful labor of love.
Yeah.
Yes. So we know you have some other business ventures going on. Keisha's Kitchen, you're doing a lot with that. You have a spice line.
Yeah.
So tell us how that's going.
It's awesome. We're actually about to relaunch. We did a little bit of rebranding, and also I added a sugar and spice for the holidays, a new spice. But it comes from, just a passion of mine. I've always loved cooking. I come from a family of both my parents, my mom, my dad, my brothers. We all cook. And as we all know, the kitchen is always the heart of our home. That's where you sit, you talk about your day, you laugh, you joke, you give people a hard time. That is just, it's innately a part of our culture. So I decided, I was like, I want to do a spice line. Like my friends, whether it was through college and high school, they always joke, they're like, you're like the Black Martha Stewart. I was the only one who could go in the kitchen and then cook. I'd be out in the garden doing all these random things. So that's really where it came from. And one thing I know is that when you follow your passion, the money will come. So I do things that I'm passionate about versus looking at it as just a business. Because when you look at it just for the dollars and cents, it has a timeline, it has a life expectancy. But when you do it because it's something you're passionate about, it's a very different experience.
Absolutely. And they say when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
Nope.
It's true.
Doesn't mean you won't have those days. And you know, as entrepreneurs, people think, oh, it's easier to be an entrepreneur. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to work for anybody. No, absolutely not. Because you are the janitor, you are customer service, you are the therapist for other people. You are all these things, and you have to wear these hats. And this is your business. So you have a vested interest in ensuring its success. And that is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job. And people don't understand that. And that's why you have to be passionate about what you do, because you have to give it your all. And if you're not, yes, it's going to feel completely joyless. And ultimately, you know when you're in the right direction and doing what you're supposed to do by the joy that it brings you.
Beautiful. We want to talk about the Fearless Fund, but before we jump into that, we know the entertainment industry as a whole, we were talking about it earlier, it's evolved a lot, and you just had your directorial debut.
I did.
So touch on that before we dive into the Fearless Fund.
Okay. You know, I love storytelling. I was a sociology major with a concentration in film, but that was because, you know, this is actually I'm so sad, this is Spelman's, this is our homecoming this weekend, but because of COVID, it's been canceled. And this is my 20 year.
Wow.
So 20 years ago, they didn't have the quote unquote like film mass comm major at Spelman. So I had to build it, and I had to ensure that I got the knowledge. So I was a sociology major, and what drew me to that was its connection to people, their experiences, and the story, you know, just the interconnectivity in telling the stories, not only from your experience, but from how people see you, that whole looking glass self, like all of that is what filmmaking is. It's bringing you into people's lives. So that's why I chose sociology. But I also, actually just yesterday, the day before yesterday, I did a masterclass in partnership with Now and Later at Clark Atlanta University. And that was awesome because I took so many classes in the mass comm department at Clark Atlanta University. I directed News Center, which was like a weekly news program that came on public TV when I was there. I took classes during the summer at NYU Tisch School of the Arts. So yes, I adore and love what I do as an actor, but I also love the other side of it, because when you're an actor, you are telling other people's stories and bringing them to life. When you're on the other side of things, you are creating those stories for others and empowering others to bring them to life. So they're both very vital, but I enjoy both sides. So, you know, I was just really excited to, I've directed before, but not on this magnitude. And I'm excited to not only be SAG-AFTRA, but DGA too. That's the unions for the Directors Guild of America, and SAG-AFTRA is the one for acting and television. So I'm just excited to continue to evolve and to grow, because that's what this is about. It's about, you know, continuing this journey because it never ends, no matter how successful you are, because the competition isn't with anyone else, it's with yourself. So it's about challenging yourself to be the best version of yourself, and also ensuring that each day you're growing and evolving, and that's gonna look different. Like, you know how people are like, oh, you changed. Yes, thank you.
It's called growth.
It's called growth.
Yes. So speaking of growth, a
Yes.
couple of years ago, you and Arian Simone put your heads together and you addressed a pretty big problem within the venture capital industry, and you all launched the Fearless Fund, $5 million. I'm sure by now it's grown immensely. Talk about what it's been like to help so many Black female entrepreneurs grow over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that has been a journey. It really just birthed from what you said. Seeing an issue, seeing the disparity in terms of investment dollars in women of color businesses. So that's how it started out. Again, saying how can we be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. And neither one of us knew what we were doing to begin with. We just knew that this was a vehicle that we believed in, and understanding that, we were the fastest growing in terms of opening business, in terms of entrepreneurship, but we were the least funded. And that's crazy. And the reason we were the least funded is because there was no one that looked like us on the other side of the table.
Right.
When you're going to these companies, and it's also the disparity when it comes to, the cultural disparity, the information gap, the wealth gap is real. A lot of the people who were starting up these companies are like, oh yeah, let's just call it what it is. These young white guys, and they're like, oh yeah, I started my first business, raised about 10 million, it folded, but now I'm on my second business. So, this one I'm raising 25 million. That cavalier, like, and you're looking like, what the hell?
Hold
I can't get someone to give me $100 for my business, and it's good. You know what I mean? So it's that piece. And like when we started on this, the biggest issue we had, because we were like, okay, we want just how we're investing in women of color, we want women of color investors, right? We found out that even high net worth individuals, because as people, we don't talk about finances. It's the craziest, most taboo thing. A lot of it comes from that fear of someone else in the room finding out that you don't know something. But you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And you're not going to know until you ask, until you have to. But we have this ingrained cultural fear of money and the conversation around finances. So we're going out to investors, and we're having to educate people to what this is. Like the biggest issue we were having was people understanding what we were doing. So I'm really grateful for that experience. I've actually stepped away. I'm still an investor, but I'm no longer a managing partner of the fund, because again, it comes back to what's bringing you joy. I believe in the mission. I believe in, the work that Fearless is doing, and now we're up to almost $30 million is the fund from 5.
Wow. $30 million.
Yes, which is amazing. But I was like, okay, I've helped bring light to this, and I definitely will continue to be an investor and continue within this venture capital space. But I have so much in my plate, and it goes down to priorities and making sure that all that you're doing is in alignment with that, and it brings you joy. So when things don't fall into that category anymore, and that's something we all have to learn, because the ego says, no, we're going to hold on and we're going to do it and we're going to prove you. Listen, Keisha and Spirit are like, that was amazing, thank you, and I will root for you over here, and I'm going to do this. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not losing, because you can be the jack of all trades and the master of none. And that's not the space that anyone desires to be in. Yes, I'm grateful for the experience and everything that I did, but there are only 24 hours in a day, and you have to choose what you're going to focus on. And that which you focus on is what grows. Your energy, where your attention, your energy flows, where your attention goes. So sometimes you have to laser focus that and cut out the noise.
Yes, let's give it up for that. So true. Despite the pandemic, obviously a tough year, especially on Black-owned businesses, especially when the pandemic started out. I was looking at some numbers, and the trends definitely disturbing. A record deployment of venture capital this year, 2020, despite the pandemic. However, the deployment of those resources to female-owned businesses and co-ed founded businesses fell a little under 2.5%. When it comes to Black female-owned businesses, it's still less than 1%.
0.00064%. That's how many, which is crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
What can female owners, female founders do when they finally get that opportunity to get in front of an investor? First, we have to increase the access to these investors, but what would you say are some do's and don'ts when you get that one shot to try and get as much capital as you can get?
Be prepared. You only have one chance to make a first impression. And when you are on that stage, or if you're in front of this panel of people, you need to make sure that you have your T's crossed, your I's dotted. And at the end of the day, people are also buying you. They're buying their belief in you as a brand, as a leader, your ability to execute, so all of that is taken into account. But more than anything, make sure you have the numbers. Like, this is a business. Yes, we're going to buy. We will want to believe in your story. We want to support you as a person. But ultimately, you need to make sure that you have, your projected numbers, that you just have all of your business in place, that your docs are in place. These are the things that people are going to ask you. I'm just trying to think of things, but that's really the key, because you can sell it all day, but if you don't have the substance to back it up, none of it matters, because once you get into due diligence, that's going to be shown. And you won't get the investment. Like, when they go to these pitches and they're like, oh, you pitched and you won $1 million. Know that they want to know how they're getting their money back. And you need to make sure that you have, your supply chain, your scalability, like all of these things have to, be in place. And a lot of us, because we're so used to bootstrapping our way up, specifically women of color, we don't have that plan in terms of, you may have a great product, but when we infuse this capital, do you have everything else in place to enable you to fulfill these POs? Do you have everything in, those sorts of things are really, really important. It's bigger than just a great idea. And that comes to starting. It's executing so that then you have the data to show your growth. You have the data to show everything behind the scenes. That's really important.
Beautiful. The theme this year, Ignite Your True Purpose and Passion and Success. What advice do you have for just the ladies in this room who may want to, start a fund like that and help be the solution to this problem?
I say, do it in your way. Sometimes we tend to feel like we need to do it the way other people do it in order to be successful. But you're successful when you were living in your purpose and using your talents and your abilities and your skills. And they're not going to look like mine, and they're not supposed to. That's the other piece you have to recognize. So I would say, look at the things that you're passionate about and how those intersect with how you can help people. It may be doing a venture capital fund. It may be, but also do your research on what that looks like. What is the time commitment? What is the financial return? Do I have time to do this and run my other businesses? Look at all of those intangible things, and not to deter you, but to help you figure out what your niche is. Because believe me, there's a whole lot of help out here that needs to be had. Yes, there's the investment side, there's the mentorship side, which costs no money. It's a time, sharing the knowledge, sharing, your journey and what you've been through. Because people like to share their highlight reel. They like to share on Instagram their filtered up snapshots of perfection. But that's not reality. That's the bottom line. So sharing with other entrepreneurs your pitfalls, things that you have encountered is important. We can't hoard information. We can't hoard knowledge. There's an abundance. There is enough for everyone. And what's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. Yeah. What's for you, it goes around like that. And it doesn't take away from what is destined for the next person. So we can't look at it from a standpoint of withholding from each other for fear that they will surpass us. I want you to surpass me. I want us all to be amazing and all getting it.
Yes. I know this journey could not have been an easy one. Obviously, you have a lot of ventures going on. What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far as an entrepreneur?
Whoa, the biggest lesson. Follow my intuition.
Okay. And that can be applied to all areas.
That is all areas of life. We have a natural guidance, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, angel, however whatever you label it as. But we often ignore it. We often, oh, no, because that little voice of intuition, not only are they the seeds that are planted, are like those divine inspirations when you're just like, what, I feel like going here. And for no really apparent reason. And then as you go there, you realize that you run into the person that you've been asking to find. that will help you with whatever you're working on. It's almost like you have to step out into the knowing, like if you are on a pond and walking into the knowing that the footstool, the stone will appear. And I'm not saying to be blind and to be, cavalier and to all these things, but you have to, like I said, just start. And I think that's just really, really important. Know when to pivot. Know when, also you have to know when to walk away. Yeah. You have to be able to, and your intuition will help you with all those things. Because again, ego will be like, oh, I'm going to muscle my way through it. If you're ever muscling your way through something, you're in the wrong place. Period. Relationships, work, it applies to all fields. Not to say that it isn't going to require your dedication, your time, your those things, but it feels very, very different.
Follow your intuition. All right. Mielle Organics.
Yeah.
This is awesome. So you are the Global Education Ambassador, and there's also a certificate program where, up to 60?
They just had their graduations in partnership with Rutgers University.
So tell us about that.
It's funny. It's again, like when you're just walking in what you're supposed to be doing, opportunities come to you.
Yeah.
And this is one of those opportunities. And the funny thing is I'd met Monique, who is the founder and CEO of Mielle Organics, prior to this. Like we'd known each other. Hey girl, how are you? And I use her products. Like me, Ella, we both use the products. Like I'm the friend also that I'm not going to call you. Yes, the whole celebrity thing. I'm going to go to Target and I'm going to buy it. You know what I mean? Part of supporting each other is also supporting each other's business and brand and financially doing that. So when this opportunity came to partner with her, it just made sense. I believe in the brand. I believe in the mission of what we're doing. And I was excited. Anything I do has to have synergy. Mm-hmm. It has to have synergy with who I am authentically as a person and vice versa. And again, that comes down to intuition. You can be offering up all kind of money and opportunity, but if it don't feel right, it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. And I'm not interested.
Yep, I know that's right. Follow your gut. So South Africa too, these ladies are going to have an opportunity to travel there.
We're all going, so I'm excited. It's so funny because Ella's been manifesting. She's like, Mommy, I'm going to go to Africa. She just said this like 2 days ago. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, now it's going to happen next year, right? That's awesome. So obviously with you, as a mom, and you have just so much going on. There's a lot of moms in this room today. What's your advice on how to just balance it all? Some people have businesses as a side hustle. Some have still trying to, maintain a full-time job. You have the family part of it. What's your best piece of advice?
Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and be allowing with yourself and be loving with yourself. Because as moms, as businesswomen, there's always so much pressure on us, and I think a lot of the pressure comes internally of us wanting to get it right all the time, us wanting to be perfect, us wanting to be everywhere. It's impossible. It's impossible. And it's so funny because I know, like, people are always talking about being loving and being loving, but the thing we forget is the first person you have to be loving to is you. Like, as people, let somebody else talk crazy to you, right? You be ready to, no ma'am, right?
You said what?
What? Excuse you? But we have to police, the same way we police people externally, we also have to police the thoughts that we say to ourselves behind our eyes and between our ears. Because it manifests into your reality. It is what becomes. Who you are is what you say to yourself and what you do on a consistent basis. So you have to understand that it begins and it ends with you. The same thing as you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. So all of that is super duper important. And when you're a mom, understand that you have a little person that's looking to you, that is learning from you. And it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. Yeah. They are watching you. They are mimicking you when you don't even know. They are absorbing what you're doing. And Ella being my biggest mirror, looking at her is a reflection of me. And if there's a behavior in her that I'm like, no ma'am, I first look to me, okay, what do I need to do to correct this? Because this did not originate with her. And I am the biggest influence in her life. So how can I do something different, show her something different, to see something different? And, that's in life, not just around the house, but even in business. Like I started out by saying, I do this first and foremost for my family. And her coming with me to work, that's why, it's a rarity. And she's like, wait, mommy, what you mean I can't come? Showing her those things, her being there, when I'm having Zoom meetings on the other side of the room, understanding she has to be quiet. But part of that also is planting those seeds. And that's important to do for our children. And showing them the hard work and the fruits of our hard work and helping them understand, just even money and finances and those things at a young age. Because, as children, you very often can take for granted that when you flip the light switch, the light's supposed to be come on. They're supposed to come on. But you don't think to why they come on, who paid the bill for them to come on.
What it took for them to come on.
Right, and how much the bill was because they kept them on.
Yeah.
So all of those things are important to teach them, also, just in everything I build a lesson. Not a teachy-preachy lesson, but a lesson by example.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this chat, because time is getting away from us,
I'm
what
sorry.
would you like our visitors to walk away with today?
Just be present in the moment. You're here for a reason. Absorb every piece of this experience. You've been drawn here, and it may be to meet the person beside you. It may be to hear a nugget of wisdom. It may be inspiration for, I'm going to have an event in this facility. It could be so many different things, and no two people's experience or reason for being here will be the same. But one of the many things that I really hold dear to my heart is that the present is truly a gift. And so often we miss it because we're either somewhere living in the regret of past, or we're projecting ourselves in the future and worrying about some stuff that ain't even happened yet.
Yeah.
So be present right here and know that there is something for you to learn and there's a jewel for you to pick up. And it may not be as profound as you think it is, but it doesn't mean it's less valuable.
Keisha, thank you so much for being here today, for your words of wisdom and your expertise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before you go,
Yes.
Scott Tessa's gonna come up to the stage
Okay.
because MBL would like to present you with something special.
Oh,
So-
thank
Actually,
you.
I have two presentations for you
Woo
today.
woo. Okay.
I'm excited
I
because
see all this red. Hey, Sarah.
hey, Sarah,
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Now I'm a part of Richmond Alumni Chapter of Delta
Okay.
Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And when we found out that you were coming to town, the president was like, okay, we have to give her a gift and welcome her to our
Thank
city.
you.
But there are 4 chapters in
Okay.
this area: Richmond Alumni, Chesterfield Alumni, Henrico Alumni, and Petersburg Alumni. And would all the sorors please stand up so she can see you in the audience, please? So from the Richmond Alumni Chapter, this is a little token from us
Thank
to
you.
and we hope that you enjoy it, and we're so excited
Thank
that you're here. Now see, for the next presentation,
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask your husband to come up.
Oh, okay.
He's like, what?
He's like, I didn't sign up for this today, or maybe you did and I didn't know. I don't know if Nia.
And-
I don't know.
So we were so excited about your
Okay.
nuptials.
Okay.
And so, and as a matter of fact, I celebrate my 24th wedding anniversary on Monday.
Oh,
So this is a
congratulations.
beautiful time for me to see you. Like I was just telling your husband, matter of fact, I was like, yes, to see him come in with you was amazing. And so, Floyd, come on up. The MBL decided that we wanted to give you a gift for your wedding, a little Virginia taste.
Oh,
So we hope that you will enjoy it
thank you.
because it's a little bit of everything Virginia. And so that way you have a little something to just enjoy.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank
So much for
you.
everything.
You want to hold it, baby?
Yeah, I was gonna say, look,
Yeah.
look ahead.
What a
Look
lot
ahead.
of people, some people may know, but I actually lived in Virginia for high school. We lived in Northern Virginia, right outside in Loudoun County in Leesburg. I graduated from Foxcroft, Horsey, yes, that was,
Yeah.
in Middleburg.
So we're excited. We were so excited that you were here.
Thank you.
And I just was like, okay. So now I know that it was funny because I'm sitting here going, he was not expecting that.
No,
I
he
could
wasn't.
tell- I'm looking at his
He was like,
expression
Keisha, what did you just sign me up for today?
Yeah. And the other part of this is we know that with travel, that putting that on the plane is something.
Yeah.
So guess what? Kathy's actually getting the information. We're going to ship it home.
Thank you.
Yes, we're
Thank
shipping
you.
it home. You know,
Thank
we're
you.
shipping it home for you.
Because TSA doesn't play.
No, TSA don't play at all. Not at all. And especially with alcohol. they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
play. So now we presented, but one of the last things before you get off the stage, and everybody, I know you got nuggets today, right? So many. And I'm thankful to our school because I have a 3.5-year-old. So a lot of the things that you were saying, and it's a female, so you know. Yeah. So as you were saying stuff, I was like, yeah, I need to change that. I need to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and she's seeing what. So I was really excited.
Because they're
about
going to tell on you.
Oh, she already does.
Tell on you.
Yeah, she does. So we're thankful that you came, and we're so appreciative. And everyone, if you enjoyed everything that she had to say, like I did, would you please stand on your feet and give her a round of applause? Okay, these people, ready, these people getting ready for lunch.
They're ready to eat.
They're ready to
Let
eat.
me go
They're ready
so
to eat.
you guys can eat. Thank you.
I know he's gonna help you down. See, I know, I've been watching this. See, y'all see this,
Thank you,
right?
baby.
So, as I said, it's lunchtime, and I know everybody is so excited to eat, like always. But there's, of course, instructions that we always give as well, and in regard to this. And what's up, Monica? My line sister standing in the back. Okay. I do shout outs, y'all. That's just what I do. But it's lunchtime, so there's a buffet in the foyer. And how we're going to do this, we're splitting this in half right here. And what we're going to ask you to do is, everyone on this side, as you go to the buffet, you will exit out of this door and come back in this door, okay? Out and in. On this side, what we're asking you to do is to exit through the door here, the first door right here, yes, and come back in through the end door, okay? Keeping it flowing, okay? So, as you take a moment to get yourself together, remember you mask back up when you're mingling, you mask back up so that way when you go outside, you get your plate, you come back in because we have more exciting things going on. So you please get your plate, come back in, and we got to keep it going because this has been a fun morning. Have y'all had a good time? Okay, so y'all are so different than when we started this morning. This morning when poor Allison, she started, y'all were doing like this, barely clapping. Now I ask, are y'all having a good time? See, that's what I'm talking about. So go out, get your plates, come back in, and we're going to keep it moving.